and welcome to Leon for the MXGP of Leon, and coming into the final MXGP race of the 2014 season. And with the first 4 positions in the World Championship standings now confirmed, the focus in the Premier class will be on the battle for 5th place in the championship. Frenchman Steven Frossard on the Monster Energy Kawasaki currently holds 5th after his 4th place overall in the state of Goiás, Brazil 1 week ago. Saw him leapfrog the Scot Sean Simpson on the Hitachi Construction Machinery KTM machine. But Simpson fell in race 1, remember, last week, whilst challenging Ferris for 4th, picked up a partially dislocated shoulder. But undeterred, the tough Scot passed a medical going into the second race, finished 6th and keeps his hopes of a top 5 place alive coming into this final round here in Leon. But Tony Cairoli, of course, was crowned world champion on the Red Bull KTM a week ago for an 8th time. And the Sicilian will be looking to round out this year with a 2nd Grand Prix win in Mexico. Remember, he won here in 2012, but the winner of the penultimate MX Grand Prix at the state of Goiás, Max Nagel on the Team HRC, will be looking to finish on a high after his perfect 1-1 for the overall victory last week, which was the first, actually, Grand Prix win for Max Nagel since the opening round of 2010. Of course, he won the qualifying race yesterday, so Nagel is charged. Well, before we go anywhere, let's take you for a quick lap around this circuit here in Leon. We're on board with Davide Guarnieri, Tony Cairoli and David Philipparts.
David Philipparts, DP Racing 19.
Davide Guarnieri, TM Factory Ricci Racing. 8 times motocross world champion, Antonio Cairoli, Red Bull Factory KTM. This is Leon.
Quick look then, about 85 metres to the first corner, where they cross the foxhole shot line, and it's a quick left-right combination. The right-hander at turn 2 just going on forever. Over a single on the exit. Another single on the entry into turn 3, a 180 left. These images were taken on Saturday morning after the first MXGP free practice, so a little bit sticky out on track then. A lot dry now. Swing through the fast right-hander at turn 4, over the first big Monster Energy jump, 28 metres point to point, that is. You can tabletop and round out with a single right at the end if you choose to. Through turn 5, 180 left, over a 20 metre or so step-up jump into turn 6, and as we exit the right-hander here, we're into the Dragon's Back. 4 waves take you over the crest of the hill, and then when you drop down the other side, you can double your way down. Then there's a bunch of singles and different ways to get through there, but from the start of the Dragon's Back right the way through here to turn 8, there are 12 waves in that particular section. Exit turn 8, over the upon tabletop jump, again about 20 metres, nice and easy. Then we land through the long sweeping left-hander. We start to head back towards the main arena. Through the first of the 90-degree left-handers here, we embark on the long straight, down the back straight in front of the main grandstands, over the big triple, and then into this left-hander, up and over the bank, long straight, slightly cresting here, just to upset the balance of the bike in time for this slightly off-cambered right-hander. Short straight into another off-cambered left, a double between the trees, landing in turn 14, and then a double jump, or sorry, tabletop jump here, dropping into the penultimate corner, a 180-degree right. Get on the gas out of there, 1 quick gear change, keep the back wheel on the ground, or as close to the ground as possible over the single, over the small double, over the big tabletop, landing in the final corner. And then we head down past pit lane, through a slight kink to the left, hit the Monster Energy finish line jump here, and that's a lap of this Leon circuit. Right, Amy Dargan is down on the line, and she's getting ready to speak with Jamie Van Horbeek, Yamaha Factory Racing.
So last weekend in Brazil, we saw Tony Cairoli wrap up the MXGP Championship title race, but we also saw Jeremy Van Horbeek secure 2nd place despite having a crash in qualifying and unable to race the 2nd moto. But he is back on the start line this weekend. Jeremy, how's the ankle?
Not the best I hoped for, but yesterday I've managed through the day, so was not too bad. Let's see what today brings. I have no pressure, or I don't need anything. But a podium would be great, but it's going to be difficult.
And let's talk about that second place finish in the championship, a really great achievement.
Yeah, you know, it's great. Second year MX1, so, you know, it's cool. Many podiums, second overall in the championship. I think it's been an awesome season, and if today it doesn't go so well, I think it's not a big deal.
Well, many congratulations to you. Let's move down one gate and also grab a word with Gauthier Paulin if we can. Gauthier, we're finishing the season on another brand new track. What do you make of it?
I mean, it's always cool. I like overseas GP, and here in Mexico on Saturday it wasn't really easy because they ripped out the track. But then it was getting much better moto after moto, so now the track is really cool. We'll see on the first moto how it is, but yeah, definitely wants to do good for the last race of the season, and I enjoy on that track.
Motocross of Nations is just around the corner. Everyone's tipping Team France as a really hot pick. How would you feel about Nations?
Just feel great to have my country flag on the shoulder, and it's always a big motivation, but definitely there is many teams who are strong. We are part of it, so it's already good, and then we need to do it on the right day, and yeah, we will have for sure our chance, but we need to work for it, and we'll see in Lithuania.
Best of luck for this final GP. Right, let's take a look at the championship standings.
So the top 4 places then already secured. Tony Cairoli, Van Horbeke, Strybos and de Sal. But that battle for 5th place still up for grabs. Stephen Frossard has a slender points advantage, 10 over Sean Simpson, as they battle it out for 5th place. Max Nagel is 7th, Paulin 8th, Guarnieri 9th and David Philippart's 10th. And Gauthier Paulin was on our live studio show yesterday, and I reminded him of the fact that he was 8th in the standings, and he said, yeah, to be honest, I haven't even looked. I don't even know where I am, because obviously his championship was effectively over after the Netherlands when he crashed out in Moto number 2. So Gauthier Paulin then looking to get through this weekend, and there he is on the green Kawasaki, just there, number 21. And he will be looking to get through this weekend and then cast his attention and his focus to the FIM Monster Energy Motocross of Nations, which of course will be in 2 weeks' time at the circuit of Kegums in Latvia. Don't forget, on MXGP TV you can watch the qualifying races live on Saturday, so go to mxgptv.com for more information on that. Of course, all the races will be uninterrupted live on Sunday as well. Good atmosphere out on track at the moment. They've just had a great MX2 race to witness, and they'll be looking to see what happens here when the big boys take to the track. As you see, they're just coming in from their sighting lap right now. Well, if you weren't with us yesterday and you've not seen what happened in the qualifying race, we're about to show you what happened. But one man was truly on fire, just like he was 1 week ago, and that was Team HRC's Max Nagel. And Max Nagel and Tony Cairoli sharing a nice little joke before the start of the qualifying race. Then it all got serious, but Gauthier Paulin was fastest in time training from Strybos, Van Horbeke, Guarnieri and Nagel. Simpson was 6th, Cairoli was 7th, and it was Frossard. But when the gate dropped, look at the Honda on the right-hand side. We're on board here with David Philipparts on a DB19 Yamaha, getting squeezed by Rui Gonçalves through the first corner. But Nagel soon dropped into the lead. He got his head down and went to work. Cairoli was in 2nd on the KTM, followed by the Suzuki. But watch this, Strybos on the left-hand side came across Simpson. He couldn't jump. Paulin landed down the arm of Simpson. Both riders miraculously stayed up in that little exchange. So Nagel, Cairoli, Strybos, Van Horbeke and Paulin, they were your top 5 with Simpson just behind, but then Paulin made his move a couple of corners later, passing the Belgian Van Horbeke, and got himself up into 4th place. Cairoli had Nagel in his sights. for the first few laps before the little German started to eke away just a slight advantage over the Sicilian. Not going anywhere though was the 22 of Kevin Strybos, and Paulin was always there lurking dangerously in the background. Van Horbik, Guarnieri, they were also there, but Van Horbik just doing enough to get through the qualifying race. The biggest jump on the track, Max Nagel getting over the triple over on the far side of the circuit. Tony Cairoli likewise getting over it on the 350 as you would expect. But already you can see that Nagel was streaking ahead in the distance. It's Cairoli just trying to find the balance around this hard, slick Leon circuit. On board with Paulin in fourth position, Strybos just ahead of him. Only about a second or so behind at that stage of the race. But looking silky smooth on the Monster Energy factory Kawasaki, Gauthier Paulin. Van Horbik was comfortable, more than content in fifth position. Behind him was Guarnieri, Simpson and Frossard, with Podozek on the 2B Yamaha just a little bit further back in ninth, and Matis Caro was in 10th. Tommy Searle made a start that got him in 11th position, eventually got into 10th place by the end of the qualifying race, but halfway point of the race, and Cairoli suddenly felt the heat from Kevin Strybos and Gauthier Paulin. This was probably the only mistake of Max Nagel during the whole race. You wouldn't hardly call it a mistake though, would you? Kept it all in line, kept it upright as well, continued to push on. Guarnieri, Simpson, Frossard and Podozek with Caro there in the background and Tommy Searle. That was a juicy little battle, taking us right the way down to 11th, but Frossard eventually got himself into 6th place, passing both Guarnieri and Simpson. But by the time the checkered flag fell, he'd lost those positions. So Guarnieri got himself back to 6th, Simpson was 7th, Frossard 8th, Podozek was 9th, and Tommy Searle got to 10th ahead of Rui Gonçalves and David Philipparts, because it was Matis Caro that fell with a handful of laps to go. Caro falling from 9th, eventually coming home in 13th. But Max Nagel, though, he took the checkered flag, his 4th qualifying race win of the season, and he will go to the line first ahead of Cairoli. Strybos 3rd, Paulin 4th, Jeremy Van Horbik, Davide Guarnieri, Sean Simpson. Stephen Frossard will line up 8th, Milko Podozek 9th, and Tommy Searle 10th. And it's Rui Gonçalves, David Philipparts, Matis Caro, Martin Garcia, the Mexican champion, Eduardo Andrade, Eduardo Martinez, Alberto Heredia, Jesus Macias, Donovan Garcia, Eduardo Lopez, Carlos Wentz, Gustavo Buccio, and Brandon Vieira. Cairoli, though, looking fairly relaxed, but he, the 8-time world champion now. Dominated qualifying last week and the 2 races at the stage of Brazil. Earlier on today, when the track was a little bit boggy, a little bit rutty. Really cool who was on it in the practice session. Jeremy Van Horbik, relaxed. 10 now that he's nailed down to 2nd place, but he picked up Stephen Frossard gets a good start, dangerous on the 6th number, typical French style track. But remember, coming into this race, the first 4 places in MXGP World Championship standings have been decided. Tony Cairoli now in Yamaha Racing. He's 2nd, Strybos and Rockstar 3rd, and his teammate Sal is 4th. That guy there, George Simpson, Hitachi Construction Machinery, KTUK, he is in 6th place at the moment, just 10 points behind Stephen Frossard on the 2nd of the Monster Energy Kawasaki's. So he'll be looking to nail down 3rd place for the best in 2008. He redislocated the shoulder partially in that crash in the first moto in Brazil a week ago. Bounced back in the 2nd race with a fine 6th place. So hard as nails is Sean Simpson. And the first 30-minute plus 2-lap race about to get underway here in Leon. Tony Cairoli got his head down. He's looking focused as we get ready to go racing here, and the gate drops, and up the inside, Nagel hits the boggy patch, but it's Strybos, I think, who grabs the foxhole shot through the first turn. and continues to lead through turn 2. Simpson in second, Frossard in third, Nagel being pushed back to fourth, Paulin in fifth, Guarneri sixth, Cairoli getting squeezed in the inside, 7th, 8th position. And Frossard knows that Simpson is right there ahead of him. That's his target man in this race, the guy he's challenging. Oh, I thought somebody went down there. It was Guarneri just disappearing on the downside into the middle. But Strybos leading the way, Simpson second, the Kawasaki, number 183, Stephen Frossard in third, Paulin is fourth, Nagel is in 5th place as they go round up and over the Dragon's Back, coming out of this next corner here. Then we've got Cairoli, Guarneri, looks like Philippart's in there as well, maybe even Van Horbik just a bit further back, but Simpson pushing on for second, and I tell you what, Max Nagel's on the move, he's found a way past Paulin, and he's looking to go after Frossard here. So looking incredibly sharp as Tommy Searle gives a wide berth to Van Horbik. Van Horbik taking an advantage there at the inside, but working their way round towards the end of this first lap. 22, Kevin Strybos, Rockstar Energy Suzuki, the yellow machine there. Sean Simpson in second, number 24, Hitachi KTM UK. Third, the number 12, Max Nagel, Team HRC. Then the two Monster Energy Kawasaki's of 183, Stephen Frossard there in fourth, his teammate 21 of Paulin in fifth, and then the 222, 8-time world champion Cairoli on the Red Bull KTM is in 6th place, having just found a way past Davide Guarneri. Then we got Van Horbik there, then Philippart's. Then I think there was a flash of Tommy Searle there in the background, but it'll all be revealed here as they come over the line now for the first time. And indeed, Strybos just about a second clear as Paulin puts his teammate down to 5th place. So Strybos leading the way, Simpson second, Max Nagel is third, Paulin fourth. Whoa, but Nagel looking for a way around and succeeds as well. So talk about on fire, Max Nagel wasting no time finding a way past Sean Simpson, pushing the Scot back into 3rd position. So Sean Simpson will be looking to see now where Nagel is making up all of his time on this racetrack as he, I thought he was jumping a little bit too far over to the left-hand side there, coming into land. Easily over the rhythm section there for Nagel, doubling his way on the downside as well. And he's already homed in on the back of 22, Kevin Strybos. And he said this place is likened to some of the tracks in Germany, Geldorf in particular, yesterday in the press conference, and taking no for an answer, isn't he? Or not taking no for an answer, I should say, Max Nagel, because right there, right on the rear wheel of 22, Kevin Strybos. And Strybos takes a look over his shoulder and thinks, uh-oh, not you, not again. So Nagel looking to square off, slightly different line, smoother down the straight into this corner here, and look at the speed he carries going into that right-hander. Almost ran into the back of Strybos. He'll go around the outside here. Either way, he should be able to double in, is he? Yeah, and takes the leap up the inside and goes through. And Nagel styles his way over the double. And in no time at all, the diminutive German is leading. And he will just have one thing on his mind now. Get his head down and getgone.com, because he said he was feeling sick for a few days coming into this race. Thought it might not be their weekend, but he got through yesterday, felt good. And that would have given him a whole bunch of confidence coming into today. And what a start. Wasn't the best start for him, but he was there, 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th around the first few corners. But he made light work of Frossard and Paulin, Simpson and just then Strybos, all in the space within a lap and a half. And Max Nagel, the fastest man on track, a 1:48.1 compared to the 50 of Kevin Strybos, the 51 of Simpson and Paulin. And he's looking to go to work on the rest of the field here. Sean Simpson, I watched him case the big triple over on the far side of the circuit yesterday. And if I had any concerns over the strength of his partially dislocated shoulder from a week ago, well, there were no problems with it there. He cased it so heavily, everything remained intact and in place. I'm sure Sean Simpson would have probably felt relieved as well, but it was just slightly aggrieved that they took all the ruts out after the free practice yesterday for the time training and for the qualifying races, because he said it got this track, his name all over it, this circuit, Sean Simpson, when it was wet and boggy. Who knows, it might even be wet and boggy. This is that big triple I was on about. Even Cairoli having to stretch it over the far side of the circuit there to keep Frossard in his sights, but looking to charge down the inside. No, he's going to switch it to the opposite side as Jill Cairoli Cox looks on. Cairoli in a hurry to find a way past Frossard. Of course, the battle that we're looking for in the championship is between the 183 Frossard there in the yellow on the green Kawasaki, and Sean Simpson, a couple of places ahead of him, number 24, as they fight over 5th overall in the standings. Simpson best well placed at the moment, still there in 3rd, disappearing over the finishing line. Paulin 4th, Frossard 5th, Cairoli looking to make a move on the Frenchman though. Cost him another point or so, because Frossard at the moment in 5th place, currently on 16 points. Cairoli on 15th and goes around the outside. Neat move from the 8-time world champ. So losing another point in the battle for 5th position. Oh, I tell you what, the back end got a little bit loose there from Cairoli as he disappeared out of turn 4. Just had a bit of a wicked kick there. He's got his head down, gets out of the left, out of turn 5, up and over the step up. Now he sets about Gauthier Paulin, and that 4th place. Frossard neatly over there and then doubling over the top and then doubling into the bottom corner there, Cairoli. Saw Max Anstey do that yesterday in qualifying or in the time training session. Just a whole host of possibilities, but looking further down the leaderboard. So we've got Nagel, Strybos, Simpson, your top 3. There is Simpson in blue, the number 24. It's a big triple jump. I think they've changed the angle slightly on that because the 250s were getting over that today, or 1 or 2 of them, certainly Julian Lieber was. So Simpson here in 3rd, Paulin 21 behind him in 4th, Cairoli now 222 in 5th, then the 183 of Frossard is 6th, Van Horbeke 7th, Guarnieri 8th, Tomisel 9th, Milko Podizek 2B Yamaha is in 10th, and David Philipparts, Mattis Caro in 12th on the Wilvo fork rent KTM, then Rui Gonçalves on the bike at Cosworth Yamaha in 13th, and then the first of the Mexicans, Eduardo Andrade in 14th, head of the Mexican champ, Martin Garcia in 15th position. But Sean Simpson, again, only knows one thing coming into this weekend: beat Frossard and try and beat him by as many places as possible to try and nail down that 5th place overall in the standings. Max Nagel, though, continues to lead the way. He's only about a second, just over a second clear of Kevin Strybos. So the Rockstar Energy Suzuki of Kevin Strybos not letting Nagel out of his sights. And Kevin Strybos, in terms of the championship chase himself, is due a podium. He's not been on the podium since his 2nd place in the Czech Republic in Lockett. He was 5th in Belgium. He was 6th a week ago in Goiás. So he would love to round out with a podium prior to representing Belgium in the Motocross of Nations in Latvia in a couple of weeks' time, right at the end of September. But Paulin getting close as his girlfriend looks on there, Clementine. 21 hounding the 24 now. This is the battle for 3rd place. Paulin in his stride. Simpson, we know what he's like, keeps the radar on, but I tell you what, he can't afford to leave the door open too wide to Gauthier Paulin, because he will barge through. These two have a bit of history over the past. Belgium springs to mind last year. Of course, some people will maybe even point to Valkenswaard this year when Paulin was already on the deck, but racing incident, that one. Simpson, a rider that just keeps his head focused ahead of him, keeps it looking forward at all times, very rarely looks behind him. But while he's 7-2 fend off the challenge of Gauthier Paulin, Paulin also having to do the same from Cairoli. Cairoli just keeping these two at a nice safe distance at the moment. Slightly wider line for Simpson, but was it smoother on the exit there? Who knows? But over the line, Nagel 1.3 seconds clear. Simpson about 5 seconds further back. And he's in a right old battle here with 21 Paulin and 222 Cairoli as he looks down the inside, the Frenchman. Simpson having none of it. Keeps it nice and tight, but will we see a power difference here heading down the straight with Paulin alongside. These two landed on each other yesterday. Oh, he jumped long, landed in Mexico City there. Gauthier Paulin had to land long, and Simpson losing 2 positions in one corner because Cairoli goes through as well. So suddenly this plays right into the hands of Stephen Frossard, but look at the intensity between Paulin and Tony Cairoli here. The two giants of MXGP. Paulin launching past Simpson, Cairoli also. Paulin wasn't able to keep the Honda of Max Nagel ahead of him wasn't able to keep Strybos in his sights either. Cairoli looking at going after Gauthier Paulin here. And he's having to looking to go for the move around the outside. And we've got the battle going on here. So, Paulin, what can he do? How's he going to fend off the challenge? From Tony Cairoli, back end gets a little bit loose. Cairoli will get the drive down. He'll look to maybe go around the outside coming into the final corner. Gets forced a little bit wide, squares off. Paulin gets a nice, neat little inside line there. Great bit of riding from Cairoli. But having to wait just a little longer. Max Nagel still not able to dispense of Kevin Strybos, who is about 1.6 seconds behind. Cairoli looking to go wide, looking to go square, trying everything he knows that's taken him to 8 world titles just to find a way past Gauthier Paulin on the factory Kawasaki, number 21 ahead of him. Look at the drive that Cairoli gets again. The back end gets a little bit loose, switching it side to side. This is where he found a way past Simpson earlier. Again, neat little inside line, and that's the difference. That's where Cairoli makes his moves. And applauded there from his girlfriend Jill. And now he has about 8 seconds to make up to Max Nagel with 18 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Cairoli set his own personal best lap of the race, half a second quicker than Gauthier Paulin last time around with a 1:48.3. That was about a 10th quicker than Max Nagel managed. And look at him already going to town on the Frenchman, getting his head down, getting gone. And there's your leaders just ahead of him. So Cairoli would have just took a look up into the left-hander at the top of the straight there, turn 11. He would have seen the Suzuki of Strybos and Nagel separated by about 1.5 seconds. And he will home in on that. Paulin there, jumped it long. Watch how flat he lands here. Boom. He goes through. Then Simpson wasn't expecting the move. Cairoli went tight and got the drive down. And he was 2 positions down going into the next corner. And look at that, a repeat move from Cairoli. Finding a way past, he's now in 3rd. Tony Cairoli then using every bit of his track craft gained over the years to launch himself into 3rd, and he sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:47.4. He's got the gap down to 6.7 seconds, and he is going after Max Nagel and Kevin Strybos now. He's already dispatched of Gauthier Paulin to the tune of about 2 seconds in that particular lap alone, because his lap time was a 47.4, Paulin a 49.4. And once again, he'll look up just to see in the next left-hander these guys here, Max Nagel and Kevin Strybos, Rockstar Energy Suzuki, number 22. Here's Cairoli popping into view now. That's what about 6.7 seconds looks like, maybe even slightly less since he came over the line. 6 corners go. Replay of the start. Paulin getting a good jump, a better jump than Cairoli. But it was the 22 of Strybos who seemed to grab the foxhole shot on the inside. Nagel just at the inside of him, though, in 2nd. Here's Strybos in that 2nd place. Cairoli, the fastest man on track. He is looking to go after these two here. Number 12, Max Nagel, Team HRC, looking at making it 3 wins in a row, because the little German, Max Nagel, a double race winner in Brazil a week ago in Goiás. Got his hands full of Strybos, though. Strybos will be mindful of the fact that Cairoli will start to close in. But look, we've got back markers ahead of our race leader, number 12, Max Nagel, as he comes up to complete his 7th lap. Roger, his English mechanic, putting out the board, telling him, be smart. And over the line, Nagel goes, a 48.3 compared to the 49.0. So he's got that gap to 2 seconds now over Strybos, who's having to deal with one of the slow riders coming through the little S-bends through turns 1 and 2. Nervous moments for Max Nagel. Doesn't want to get held up unnecessarily. Did that guy fall in front of him? No, it was a bobble. And Roger there reacting as well. Strybos, I think he's just managed to pull a little bit back, you know, because that's not 2.0 seconds, 2.025 to be exact. It's probably more like a second So Nagel having to get his head down. Wheel is the first, doubles up over the second, takes the safety option, doubles on the way down. And Kai Rowley, 7.3 seconds off of Max Nagel. He was a 48.9, so he had an electrifying pace just a lap ago, but he's backed it right off again this time around. Maybe a little bit of back marker traffic just ahead of him, but 14.5 plus 2 to go. A lot of work gone on down in HRC in the last 6 or 7 weeks or so, getting that bike dialed in. We're at altitude here as well, 1,820 odd meters, something like that. So the bike's running a little bit slower than normal, but the Honda boys at HRC getting that dialed in very, very quickly yesterday. Giving Max the perfect weapon to dominate the qualifying race yesterday. Didn't make the best start in the race earlier, but the battle here, Paulin, well, he's in 4th place all by himself actually. Frossard still behind Simpson in 6th. So Simpson will only pull 1 point back. And there is that battle, 24, Sean Simpson, and 183, Stephen Frossard. This is a fight for 5th place in the championship and 5th place in the race. So 24 Simpson on the Hitachi KTM, going down past pit lane now and over the finish line now. He's in 5th, but he has a target on his back because 183 Frossard on the Monster Energy Kawasaki looking to find a way through and take that gap to 11 points as they go into moto number 2. Jeremy Van Horbeek not too far behind either in 7th, number 89, Factory Yamaha. Nervous moments as Simpson negotiates the back markers. Frossard ready to pounce. Van Horbeek right there as well. So the leaders come through, or the faster riders come through. Back markers suddenly realise they're there. Eventually let themselves through. And then they look back and see Van Horbeek just lurking there in the distance. So the likes of Simpson and Frossard do all the donkey work for the likes of someone like Van Horbeek in that particular instance. But Simpson got his work cut out here, I have to say. Not quite 100% fit, although the shoulder is strong enough, he said. Oh, and he goes the wrong side of the back marker. And Frossard goes through. Does he double though? He can't double. Simpson makes the big leap. Cases, shoulder stays in place. Takes 5th place back from the Frenchman. Now he knows he's got his hands full. Sean Simpson. And number 24, Hitachi KTM. This is a fight for 5th position. Nagel still leads. Strybos 2nd, Kai Rowley 3rd, Paulin 4th. These two fighting over 5th. Sean Simpson and 183, the Frenchman, Stephen Frossard on the Kawasaki. Jeremy Van Horbeek just in the background on the Yamaha. He's in 7th place, just looking to get through here with as little or as few problems as possible. Ranieri, wait for him to come through on the TM Ritchie Racing machine. Big gap actually, there he is, 10 seconds back of this guy here, Jeremy Van Horbeek, is Davide Guarnieri. Then Tommy Searle on the CLS Kawasaki Monster Energy machine this night. Mattis Caro goes through in 10th on the Wilbo Fortran KTM, about 3 seconds adrift of Tommy Searle. Then we've got Gonçalves, Philipparts, Potazek now 13th, and then Martin Garcia is the lead Mexican. Van Horbeek, all of a sudden, has decided, you know what, I'm not happy sitting in 7th place. Might, just for a little bit of fun, go after Stephen Frossard and then see if I can pick off Sean Simpson. Got clear track as well. No back markers to have to negotiate. Unlike Simpson and Frossard. Saw what happened when he went to the wrong side of the back marker a lap ago. Same line. He's leaving himself too wide open. See, Simpson continues to jump and bounce. In case that triple over on the far side. And Horbeek looming large in their rear view mirrors though. Number 89. So, Simpson though, 10 minutes to go, doing a good job, hanging on to 5th. Frossard ain't giving up though. Frossard alongside Simpson, making a move in the final corner. Simpson holds it nice and tight this time. So just over 9.5 minutes to go. Nagel continues to lead. He's 2.5 seconds clear of Kevin Strybos. So Team HRC versus Rockstar Energy Suzuki. The Red Bull KTM of Cairoli is in third, 6 seconds back. Then the Monster Energy Kawasaki of Paul Lance fourth. The Hitachi KTM here, number 24. Sean Simpson is fifth, but Stephen Frossard falling into the clutches of Van Hoorbeek. Simpson holding on bravely to that 5th place. 9 minutes plus 2 to go. Stephen Frossard has just had a couple of moments. He's fallen into the clutches of the number 89, the blue Yamaha of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Van Hoorbeek in 7th, the green Kawasaki of Frossard in 6th place. He put on a charge to get back onto the rear wheel of Sean Simpson, but not able to sustain it. Might have to take a second bite of the cherry. What we do know about Simpson is that he can take a pace, stick with it for all the entire moto. There's Van Hoorbeek, ankle problems, what ankle problems? Launches past Stephen Frossard. That will have a slightly demoralising effect on the Frenchman, because he knows now that his 2 points lost to Sean Simpson with 8.25 minutes to go. Van Hoorbeek going after Simpson, so Frossard will be hoping that Van Hoorbeek here could find a way past the Scot, number 24, for at least take a point back in terms of his title race for 5th. Van Hoorbeek, look at the difference here. Frossard knew it was coming, took a look over his shoulder. Spectacular move that from Jeremy Van Hoorbeek to launch himself up into 6th. Here's your race leader, Max Nagel, Team HRC, more than 3 seconds clear now of Kevin Strybos on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki. Cairoli still about 6 seconds further back. And Nagel lapping 1:48.2 last time around. Strybos 49.1, Cairoli 49.3, Paulin 50.1, Simpson a 51.2, and Van Hoorbeek a 51.0 compared to the 53.2 of Stephen Frossard. Just over 7 minutes plus 2 to go. And Max Nagel continues to lead here. He's now 3.2 seconds clear, almost that whole length of the straight clear of the Rockstar Energy Suzuki of Kevin Strybos, who's there in 2nd position. But silky smooth like he was a week ago in the MXGP State of Goiás in Brazil. Max Nagel and HRC looking at picking up their 3rd race victory in a row in the hands of the little German. There's Tony Cairoli, Red Bull KTM. He's in 3rd place, about 6 seconds adrift of the Rockstar Energy Suzuki of Strybos. Just see him there at the front, at the top end of the shop, disappearing around the final corner, heading down pit lane. That's what about 6 seconds looks like. But Strybos has got that gap back down to less than 3 seconds that time around. He was marginally quicker, about 3 or 4 tenths quicker than Nagel that time around, lap 12, so we're on lap 13 now, 6 minutes to go. There might be more back marker traffic just around the corner for Nagel and Strybos to have to deal with, but Cairoli, an 8-time world champion, he knows that 3rd place is going to be good enough to at least get him on the podium by the end of the Grand Prix. Simpson riding a good ride here. He's 17 seconds down on Gauthier Paulin, trying to hold on desperately to 5th place. But Van Hoorbeek around the outside, the factory power of that Yamaha gets put down. He makes a move up the inside, pushes Simpson back down to 6th place. So Simpson there, number 24, is once again just 1 place clear of Stephen Frossard, number 183 on the factory Kawasaki behind him. Remember, those two going for 5th place in the championship standings. Here's Van Hoorbeek though. He's in 5th position. That's at least where he'd expect to be, given his ankle circumstances. There's the mechanic Luigi, just putting the jigsaw puzzle together, telling him where and what and how far the next time he comes around. Someone like Simpson, you know, very realistic in terms of how he approaches his racing. what will be, what will be. All he can do is do his best, all that kind of thing. He's got off to a great start. He was second in the opening laps of the race. He couldn't quite stay with Max Nagel or Kevin Strybos. Kai Rowley's been through as well, so too Paul. Both those two finding a way past in the same corner and next stretch of track. And only Jeremy Van Voorbeek has been able to make a pass stick since those two went by him. If he can keep Frossard at bay, that will at least help. That'll get the points gap down to 9 points going into the final moto. Of course, anything can happen. Motocross it generally does. Just taking his time to get into the swing of things. Jeremy Van Voorbeek passes pit lane now, over the line to complete lap 13. Just takes a cheeky look over his shoulder, sees exactly where Simpson and Frossard are. Just over a second or so is the answer. Max Nagel, though, putting in another fine lap at the head of the field. He's now 4.2 seconds clear of Strybos. And looking good for the German, just like it was a week ago in Goiás. Bit short on the landing there for Van Voorbeek. As he came into land in turn 5, but as long as he doesn't clobber that ankle, he'll be fine. Simpson trying to keep the power down. Launches over the top. Nice sequence, and Frossard mirroring that as well. So Van Voorbeek in 5th, 11 seconds behind Gauthier Paulin. Paulin in 4th place for Monster Energy Kawasaki, but likewise he's about 8 seconds behind Tony Kai Rowley. And Kai Rowley 9 seconds behind Strybos as Nagel over the line again. 14 laps complete, another decent lap for him, 1:49.5. That's faster than Strybos did last time around. But the gap 4 seconds. Here's David Philippart's DP19 Racing Yamaha and Milko Podolzek. So Podolzek down in 13th place on the 2B Yamaha. Just riding a standard 2015 production Yamaha. Arrived at the circuit for him and he was chuffed to bits. He'd never ridden one up until free practice on Saturday. And he crashed earlier on because he was just around 9th, 10th on the opening lap, but crashed at the end of pit lane. We never saw it. But this is why he's now struggling to find his way back past David Philippart's number 19. I think he's enjoyed his time over here. These two flyaways. Certainly been an experience for him, Milko Podolzek, and looking to get the power down. I'll tell you what, he's made the adjustment very well. Switching from MX3 into MXGP, not easy. Looking to go around the outside. He won't get it done here, though, will he? Side by side over the finish line jump. Keeps it nice and low, though. Cut to the inside of Philippart's. Not a chance. Philippart's way too cute for that. Oh, sneaky move back through, though. And he does go through. Squared him off a treat. Coming through turn 2. Podolzek suddenly finds himself up into 12th place. He saw the track on Friday and he just thought, yeah, this is my playground. He was banging in the fast laps in free practice yesterday. It was always towards the top end of the timing sheets for a bit. Looked really relaxed, really comfortable. But with, 3 laps to go then. Nagel over the line. 3 seconds clear of Strybos there, 22. So he weathered the storm well early on in the race, Max Nagel. Of course, he knows that 2.5 laps to go. Can't take his eye off the ball. There's Strybos in yellow, number 22. Strybos, of course, confirmed as 3rd in the championship. Now, won a race in Czech Republic at Loket. Took a 3rd in the second moto. That got him 2nd overall. He's had a good string of podiums, actually, Strybos. 3rd overall in Trentino, the Netherlands and in Spain. Also in Italy, in Maggiora, and Sweden and Finland. So 6 podiums in 3rd, and the 7th podium coming in Lockett, the Czech Republic, getting second overall that day. Say a win and a third. Rui Gonçalves, 9.99. He's in 11th place, trying to close down the number 91 of Matis Caro on the Wilvo Fork rank KTM in yellow, just ahead of him. Caro will be back in action at the Maxxis British Motocross Championship round finale in a week's time at Fox Hills Motor Park, Swindon. Of course, a former Grand Prix circuit for the British Grand Prix. He'll be hoping to nail down his first MX2 British Championship crown. There's Tommy Searle going through, 100 as well, just ahead of him in 9th. Never really looked comfortable this weekend, Tommy Searle, just seemingly happy to go through the motions, really. But it's one of those tracks, you either like it or you don't. The ground, very strange here. You can see from the body language, not wanting to push. Normally he'd jump that triple all day long, but his girlfriend Sophie looks on. Tommy Searle, was he 15 points behind Rui Gonçalves in the championship chase? Of course, missed, what, 5 rounds due to the broken wrist that he picked up in Thailand, round 2, first moto. And Caro closing in on Tommy Searle. So Caro in 10th, looking to pick off the Brit on the CLS Kawasaki, number 100. That'll put him into 9th place. As they hit the finish line with 2 laps to go. Caro has closed down considerably that lap on Tommy Searle. Three-quarters of a second, something like that. We just saw a flash of Rui Gonçalves behind them on the bike it cost with the Yamaha in 11th. Then Podolzek 12th on the 2B Yamaha, Philipp Arts 13th and Martin Garcia 14th. Nagel up front, looking in control though, 3 seconds clear of Kevin Strybos. As Caro looking to get himself back on the rear wheel of Searle. Searle responding, it seems. But Nagel back over the line here. 1 lap board goes out. And Strybos suddenly looking interested. He's got it down to less than 2 seconds. Fastest man on track between those 2 guys this time around, Kevin Strybos, a 49.2. And it was a 50.3 for Max Nagel. So he's either made a slight mistake, maybe backed it off just a little bit like he did at the end of the first moto last week in Brazil, or Strybos just turning it up a little bit, maybe fancying his chances. Either way, we've got a final lap showdown here between Team HRC and Team Rockstar Energy Suzuki. Nagel getting a bit of a bobble on the approach to the takeoff. He couldn't back out of the challenge, had to get over it to keep that gap between himself and Strybos. Strybos, will he try to respond here? He's probably closer than he has been for maybe half the race now. But one false move, one ask of the throttle, just a little bit too early. The back end will come spinning around on you. You can just start to see as they crest that bank there, how it's starting to cut out. And you slide at that wrong moment, the back end is going to pitch back and you're going to go down. But maybe a handful of corners to go. Look how hard and slick and polished it is, like marbles over on that part of the racetrack now. But Nagel, he knows the threat of Strybos is there. Just needs to maintain his focus. 3 corners to go. Look over his shoulder. Knows exactly where Strybos is. Over the little single, small double jump here with the final big tabletop before the finish line. And Nagel, just 1 more corner to go. And what a perfect day so far for Nagel. 3 wins out of 3, going back to Brazil the week ago. Nagel wins race 1 here in Mexico. Strybos over the line in second, 1.2 seconds further back. We wait for Tony Cairoli, the Sicilian 8-time world champion, to come over the line for KTM in third. And good respect there between those 2, Nagel and Strybos. Congratulate each other on their performances, but Nagel wins it. Strybos second. Here's Cairoli out of the final turn. He's back right off. So Cairoli over the line third. Paulhan should be 4th and Van Horbik should be 5th. Going into the final lap, Simpson was holding on from Frossard, but here's our race winner with Amy.
Max Nagel, congratulations on another race win. You were the winner of yesterday's qualifying race. You've won here in race 1. It looks like you're going to make another repeat of last weekend's performance. How was it out there?
Oh, it was okay. Especially, I'm really proud about myself in the beginning, because in Brazil and yesterday I had whole shot and I could do my own race, my own pace. And today I was just 5th on the start, and immediately I tried to pass the guys, and everywhere pam I could pass them. I was so motivated and so strong in the beginning, and then I could go it a bit easy, take my rhythm. Also now Kevin behind me is a good friend of me, so then it's really nice to race to each other. And just the last 2 laps he was pushing again, so I also had to push. So then I was a bit tired, but I think I'm still fit enough for the second race, and hopefully can do a podium today.
Well done, Max. Some great passes there at the start of the race. Well done.
A solid performance then from Max Nagel and Team HRC, holding off Kevin Strybos by a narrow margin of 1.2 seconds. He had as much as 4 seconds with a few laps to go, but great ride. 3 wins out of 3 now for Max Nagel, when you take back Brazil a week ago where he picked up a double moto victory. So Nagel in control then after race 1, Strybos second, Cairoli, Paulin, Van Horbeke and Simpson held on for 6 ahead of Frossard. Here's how race 1 finished then. Max Nagel, a comfortable winner, well, 1.2 seconds, wouldn't call it comfortable. Strybos was second, Cairoli third, and then it was Paulin, Van Horbeke, Simpson, Frossard and Guarnieri. 9th for Tommy Searle and 10th for Matis Carey. Rui Gonçalves was 11th, then it was Milko Podezek, David Philipparts, then the Mexicans starting with Martin Garcia. Championship looks like this. Of course, the first 4 positions are confirmed. Frossard just lost a point. Simpson gained 1 on the Frenchman in that battle for 5th. Nagel 7th, Paulin 8th, Guarnieri 9th, Philipparts 10th, and then the rest. A decent crowd here for this MXGP of Mexico, of Leon, the final round of the 2014 FIA Motocross World Championship season. Manufacturers' Championship looks like this. KTM have secured the title once again in MXGP. Suzuki second, and then Yamaha, Kawasaki, Honda, Husqvarna and TM. So KTM winning both the manufacturers' titles in MX2 and MXGP this year. Of course, the world title in MX2 still yet to be decided between Herlings and Tixier. But earlier on, the Fox Whole Shot Award went to Kevin Strybos, Rockstar Energy Suzuki World MXGP. Finished second in the race because it was Max Nagel who started 5th, worked his way to the front in very quick fashion. And Strybos has 3 black Fox Whole Shot plates now to his credit. Cairoli, though, has already clinched that, and there'll be a presentation on the podium a little later on in the afternoon after race 2. While some people take a look at some of their best moments, let's take a look at some of ours. a quick look back at some of the best moments then from the MXGP of Leon. Max Nagel victorious in Moto number 1. As you saw there, holding off the challenge from the Rockstar Energy Suzuki of Kevin Strybos and the Red Bull KTM of Tony Cairoli coming home in 3rd place. So the first 4 places already decided, and obviously when we return a little later on this afternoon for MXGP Race 2, we will see who will be confirmed in 5th place in MXGP. Will it be Stephen Frossard, who now has a 9-point advantage on his Monster Energy Kawasaki over the Hitachi KTM of Sean Simpson, or will Sean Simpson be able to overturn that 9-point deficit and walk away with 5th place in a championship? Well, the atmosphere is good, and it's going to be about an hour or so before we rejoin the action on track, and when we do return, it will be with the MX2 Race 2, and of course that championship battle has still to be decided, because Jeffrey Hurlings continues to lead it from his teammate at Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Jordi Tixier 2nd, but the gap now down just to 5 points. It's been a lot of hype around the MX2 category this weekend with the return of Jeffrey Hurlings, and of course we will have all of that live as it happens a little later on today. Well, that's all we've got time for. We'll be back in an hour's time for the concluding part of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship in MX2. Hope you can join us then. Bye for now.